Hello everyone, I am Jamila Musaiva, and in today's video I will be talking about my favorite quotes, so 10 quotes that I live by. And if you have been on my channel for some time, or if you've been following me on YouTube, you know that I'm a huge fan of quotes. I collect quotes. I call myself a quote collector. What it essentially means is that I will do throughout the day, I'll just save some posts. I used to do it intentionally. I would just wake up, Google some quotes and just write them down. Now I don't always wake up and Google quotes, but throughout the day, if there is any quote that pops into my feed, I'll save it, and then after the day is over or when the day starts, I'll just sit down and write out some quotes that spoke to my heart that day. It's a very interesting way of looking at your life when you go through your own quote book, is that you realize that what you are going through and at that period of time, or how the quotes that you collect change over time. Whereas, one per certain time of my life, courage was an important thing for me, and other faith was, and then the other hope was, and then the other was the importance of living authentically. So you'll see how I also change as a person when you go through my, you don't go through it, but when I go through my own quote book collection, I realize that things that I value, the things that are important to me, are really highlighted in the quotes that I save and speak volumes to me at that time. Some people journal, telling about their emotions and feelings, and I just collect quotes. First, because it inspires me. Second, because it helps me understand myself better and where I am in life. And third, I think it just also teaches me really well how to formulate my ideas in more brief and concise way. Ironically, I've been doing this intro part for like a minute now, good 2 minutes, but it really helps you actually to improve your language, to enrich your vocabulary. I remember that when I was reading the biography of Abraham Lincoln, he loved learning poems by heart because he found the importance of learning poems and how it was reflected in his vocabulary and his ability to speak. So just like poems, for me, quotes really help me enrich my vocabulary, and in just general help me condense my bigger ideas or thoughts into smaller sentences. I find it also very helpful in learning a language. If you want to learn English better, you can start learning more quotes in English. It's like little ideas that are also inspiring, but also really good at learning, also good at helping you learn new words in a context. So with that introduction being made, this is the reason why I truly collect quotes, and I encourage you to start collecting as well if you haven't yet started, and because I do see a lot of benefit in that to those people that I've recommended to collect, and they've reached out to me after many years of collecting, saying it was one of the best things that they started doing with their daily routine. Again, it doesn't have to be on a daily basis. I used to do it on a daily basis, but with my lifestyle right now, currently with kids and work and online teachings, I don't have enough time to always do it in the morning, but I'll do it once a week for sure. So with that being said, I want to show you a few notebooks that I have in my collection. All of these are Mont Blanc notebooks. I love these notebooks. They come in different colors. So these are the two ones that I've recently purchased, and they're matching what I'm wearing. I tried to match what I'm wearing with my notebook today. It wouldn't be me if I wouldn't try to match my outfit with what I'm showing. And you see in the background, I have blue flower, or blue turquoise color flowers. I have a candle as well, and a book that matches these notebooks. And I've actually posted a picture for my morning coffee where all of this matched my outfit for today's video. So that wasn't part of the today's teaching, but I just wanted to let you know. And then I have 3 other notebooks, again all by Mont Blanc. This blue, the yellow one, and this red one. This red one is a brand new one. I don't have anything written in here, but it's waiting for its turn to start collecting quotes as well. And I think naively maybe so, but I really think I want to then pass these notebooks on to my children, and hopefully they'll pass it to their children. And these are quite durable notebooks, very nice and look good, I think, so that it will probably encourage my grandchildren to not give it away, and maybe have them in their library as well, and just look through the quotes that their grandma thought was important or meant something for her, and maybe they can add more to their quote book, and so we can grow a huge library of quote notebooks. So here it is, a very intimate part of my life, I think, that I decided to share because I always show it on my Instagram page that I collect quotes, and I get a lot of questions. Can you please share some? Can you show some? So this time I decided to be more open about it and actually go through 10 quotes that I live by. Again, every period of my life I've been living by different quotes, and that also stems from the fact that I was searching for different things at different stages of my life. But I would say these 10 quotes have really stuck with me for different purposes. I'll go over each in a minute, but there are a lot more quotes that inspire me, obviously. But for this date, for August 2025, these are 25 quotes that have been with me for quite some time. So quote number 1 is something that I've shared a lot in my interviews, podcasts, on Q&A in my Instagram, and that is choose one day or day one. Or this actually goes one day or day one without the word choose, but I always say it when I explain it because otherwise people get confused. What do you mean one day or day one? Essentially, the quote is very short, and what it tries to say is it's up to you to make a choice if today is the day one of you doing what you wanted to do, or is it one day again? One day meaning you keep on postponing for tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, never really doing anything about it. Or is it the day you decide that this is from today onwards, from day one, I'm starting to do this? And this can be applied to everything in your life. If you want to start a business, if you want to start working out, if you want to, start saving, if you want to start eating clean, if you want to learn a new language, if you want to, save for your dream travel, whatever it is, it's up to you to make a choice. Will the day today be just one day again, or is it going to be the day one that you take the action? And this quote has inspired me in so many ways in everything that I've wanted ever to do. I used to be the person who would always think one day when the perfect moment comes, because being a perfectionist that I am, I've always waited for the magical moment to come, for the magical timing to come for me to be ready to do, to launch my website, to write my books, to do my online courses, to start my YouTube channel. But then when I read this quote many, many years ago, I was like, okay, this is a message I needed to hear, and this is day one I start taking actions. So I hope that you live your life by choosing to make day one every day coming closer to the dream, coming closer to the life that you aspire to live. The second quote is by my favorite. I love her, and I've collected pretty much all her quotes, but this quote just kept it really affected me the moment I read it, and it made me think over and over through my life, career, business meetings, people that I meet, socially, for work. And this is, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is by Maya Angelou. She's a genius lady, very beautiful person, I think. When you listen to her, you really could hear her soul in her thoughts, in the way that she saw the world. And she's so right about the fact, that we often forget what people said, perhaps what if they even did. Like, we don't really remember the action itself, but we really never forget how a person made us feel. Did they make us feel happy? Did they make us feel seen? Did they make us feel proud, confident, loved, cared for? Or did they make us seen or felt guilty, ashamed? Did they make us hate ourselves? Because we don't love anyone more than ourselves, and that's true for everyone, no matter what they say. Even if you say you don't feel self-love, you don't feel like you love yourself, you don't feel like worthy of anything, it's because your love for yourself was compromised, and it was shattered. And when people make us not love ourselves, we remember those people for that, and it's never a good feeling. And whatever you say, whatever you do, always think about how am I going to make this person feel? You might make the person feel motivated, but you can also make the person feel disarmed. It's what you choose to say and how you say it that will affect how they feel about you or themselves and then about you. So I'm very critical with myself. I expect a lot from myself, but I also have high expectations about people that I care a lot about. And when I feel like they have this potential to fulfill those expectations, and I could sometimes be quite demanding in work and personal life. And I do understand that sometimes maybe what I say might come harsh, but I also think that I have so much love to give that it comes with a bit of a balance between loving and then pushing the person to do better, be better. Again, now looking back, I see that maybe sometimes I have maybe made the person not feel motivated, but rather discouraged. But the intention was to make them feel like they can do better and more. And looking back now, I realize that it's really important that you learn that whatever you do, you have to keep in mind that you're going to make a person feel a certain way. And if it's the last time you ever meet, you don't want them to have the lasting impression of you being someone who was not loving them or not, not proud of them. So it's a very thin line, and I am working on it, but I think I do definitely remember how people make me feel, and I'm sure that a lot of people have their thoughts about how I made them feel. The third quote is, "If you don't ask, the answer is always a no." This is a quote that was told to me by someone when I was in college, and I'm a person who would never ask for anything. I just had this issue with asking for help. And when the person told me that this quote or this saying, and they're like, if you don't ask, the answer is definitely going to be a no, because they don't know that you want it. But if you ask, the chances of you getting a no is 50% now, because it could be yes or it could be no. And I realize that's so true. Even in my life now, when people reach out to me asking for something, I don't know what is in their heads. So I wouldn't be able to help them if I didn't know they were asking for help. So asking for help, asking for guidance, asking for, lending something, borrowing something, I am not in your head, you're not in mine. So it's not, let's not complicate life by playing this mystery game, and instead try to just ask and see if the people are willing to help or not. I always had this idea that if someone really was, careful, was attentive, and they would see me through, they would know what I want. But sometimes I realize not everyone is so attuned to others' needs, and that doesn't mean that they're a bad person and they're not willing to help. It's just they're not perhaps that empathetic, or they're not that someone who's super sensitive, so they can sense you without words. So sometimes it's just important that you are upfront and ask for things that you want in life. So number 4 is a quote. I wouldn't say it's a quote, but it's a saying from Quran. And a lot of people who are Muslim and a lot of people who have read Quran know this. Is the quote that says, "With hardship comes ease." And it's not that after hardship comes ease, but it is with hardship comes ease. And I think that's the beauty of this particular saying, is that you don't have to wait for the hardship to be over to feel this ease. If you understand that in this hardship, there's tremendous transformation for the ease in your soul, in your way of living, in your character. I'm trying to explain this. I want to explain this in more simple terms, but it somehow sounded more philosophical. The point is that when you're experiencing something hard, don't think that, okay, after hardship, there's going to become an easy moment. Nothing is everlasting. The good times, the bad times, everything is temporary. But the point is, in that hardship, you are learning something that is putting you at ease in life. So maybe through hardship, you're learning to be more patient. And that patience that you're going to be building in your character is going to bring ease to your life. Maybe through hardship, you're building courage, you're building strength, you're building faith, you're building a character that's resilient. So that's something that, if you think about it, in this hardship moment, you're growing a character trait that is helping you to live an easier life, or to handle life more easily. And I thought that's something I keep reminding myself whenever I'm going through a hard time. I'm thinking, what is it that it's teaching me right now? And embracing that lesson. It's not always coming easy. It definitely comes with a lot of tears and sadness, but it's also always a stage where you can learn the most. I find that pain is probably the strongest teacher of them all. Very few people learn in joy. A lot of what we learn comes with pain. The fifth quote is, "The journey of 1,000 steps begins with a single step," and that's Lao Tzu. And I remember first learning this quote when I was in college. I was studying Eastern religions, and this quote really stuck with me. And I remember looking at it and thinking, wow, this is so true. Like, everything that we learn was once super difficult for us. Learning how to speak, learning how to write, learning how to walk, even as a baby, it was difficult to do the first step. When you watch your child walk, you realize how much power and strength it demands for them to actually do the first step, and patience and resilience. And then we just take it for granted throughout our whole life. And it's so true that whatever you want to learn in life, and my motto in life is, it's never too late to learn anything, is understand that you cannot all of a sudden become super great at something. It's impossible. Everyone was once amateur at whatever they're doing. Even the best singer and the best dancer was once just starting. And so when you realize that to come to that point, you have to take a small single step, you realize you kind of make that workload easier in your head and more attainable. And that resistance to start is diminished, because oftentimes the hardest thing to do is to get started. And for you to shorten that, to make that resistance smaller, you have to realize that I just need that one first single step. And then when you look, at yourself in a year time, you realize, okay, if today, day one, I choose to start learning French, I go online, find a tutor, start my class, and today I have a 30-minute class. In 1 year time, that build up from 30-minute classes, you're going to be already having a conversation 1 year time. And that applies to everything in life. The sixth quote is, "In the end, we only regret the chances we did not take." And that is such a beautiful quote. I've gone through some posts where I saw, the things that elderly people in elderly homes were saying, things that they wish they did differently or thought differently when they were younger. And everyone would say, take more chances, live your life more authentically, take more risks, think crazy things. And it's so true. Looking back at my life now, I always think about the times I did something crazy, or I missed maybe a college class and went to a conference somewhere, and I was like, oh my god, I'm missing a class, my attendance counts. But that conference connected me with a lot more interesting people, brought me a lot more fruitful connections that I needed more in my life later on. And so I'm happy that I missed class and I went there. This is not to say that I'm encouraging you to miss a lot of classes, but sometimes it's worth to take those things that don't sound very rational to you, but you took the chances and you did it. Most likely, you're never going to regret the things that you did. You're going to regret mostly the things that you didn't do. But that's obviously within the realm of rationality, in terms of not doing something that can harm your body or harm people around you. It's about taking risks that could be not necessarily it's not something that you feel safe doing because you fear that it might cost you a classroom attendance point, or you might not feel comfortable in this crowd of people. So going on a trip with new friends you're not comfortable with, it's probably worth the risk to try it out, and maybe you're going to have some of the best connections you're ever going to make in your life. Number 7 is, and this is actually, it's not necessarily a quote, but it's like a poem. and it's by Omar Khayyam. It's a longer one, but I've shortened it, and it says, "You better starve than eat whatever. You better be alone than with whoever." It's a rubai. It's a 4-line poem, but I've only selected these 2 lines, and basically the idea can be applied beyond your diet, beyond romantic relationships, to whatever you're doing in life, social connections, information that you choose to read, information that you let your ears, the music you let your ears hear, the people you select to spend your time with, rather than doing it with whoever, whatever. Select, curate, be selective in the people you hang out with, be selective in the music you listen to, be selective in the information you read, in the books you read. Curate your life in every single possible way: what you eat, the way you eat, the people you decide to spend your romantic time with. Everything around you is energy, and so what you're surrounding yourself with is starting to infiltrate you and starts to be part of you. So be selective in what you eat and who you date, and what you read and what you listen to. Especially very important in today's generation, where people feel like, they feel like exchanging their bodies, their souls, and their minds, and whatever with everyone. And it's something I encourage you to be very selective about. Number 8, your life unfolds in proportion to your courage. I've seen this quote being said, phrased differently as well. You live the life you had the courage to live, or the quality of your life is in proportion to the risks you take. Different ways of phrasing it, but essentially, your life really is a reflection of how much courage you had to live it to the most authentic, fullest way. If you're scared of what people will say, if you're scared of taking risks, if you're scared of being seen, if you're scared of being judged, if you're scared of being not liked, you're going to be safe. You're going to be living a stable life. But will you be happy in the end when you are 90, 100 years old, looking back, that you lived it so safely that you never had the audacity to live it like you truly wanted to live it? And when I'm saying this to you, I'm actually saying it to myself. It's almost like a self-talk. I wrote this quote down because I needed to hear this. And actually on my phone, I have the wallpaper that says, "Be bold enough to dream and be courageous enough to take actions," something like that. But essentially, be daring enough to dream big, and also have a courage enough to live up to those bold dreams that you have. So it takes boldness in life, in everything you do, in the way you dream, in the way you live it. So I hope this inspires you, as well as I'm talking to myself that I want to live a life that is authentic to me, and I have the courage to live it authentically and unapologetically. I'm teaching and preaching this, but I'm also learning together with you to practice it. And hopefully will be an example to those of you watching me throughout these years, to see that I'm actually living it like I promised I would. Number 9 is, sometimes, I think I've said this in one of my latest videos about life lessons. If you haven't checked it out, make sure that you do. But one of the life lessons, and I have this in my quote book as well, is by Rumi. And he says, "Somewhere between right and wrong, there's a garden. I'll meet you there." I remember when I first came to see this quote, I think I was in a mental state where everything that I thought was right was actually crumbled, and everything that I thought was wrong was also not so wrong. And before, life for me was black and white. I was very judgmental about myself, towards others. I was very conservative in many ways, and I'm not saying this in a good sense, but I was very, judgmental of people and everything around me. And as my world started shattering in the way that I thought everything was black and white, and I sought a lot of gray area there, I saw this quote, or this quote found me, and ever since it has been with me. And by looking at life through the spectrum of grayness and understanding that there's really no right and wrong in many ways, because something that was considered wrong for centuries or people were killed for saying this out loud, were burned, is now we know as truth, and something that we thought was right, we're now seeing that has been wrong in many ways. When young girls were off to get married when they were 10, 11, or things that were normal to society is now absurd. So we see how a society changes as science develops, as cultural norms change. Things of what was right and wrong has been moving around, and there's so much grayness in it. The most important thing is keeping your heart kind and loving God, I think, for me personally, and having this tenderness and this kindness, this genuine kindness in your heart in whatever you do. The rest is really up to the judgment. We don't really know what is right and wrong, and to some what we do might be right, and to others it might be wrong. As long as it's true and authentic and kind in our hearts to us, what we're doing is being authentic to ourselves and being kind. I think that's all that matters. And so this is a beautiful quote that has inspired me to be less judgmental towards myself. And with the less judgment towards myself, I've become more open to others and more embracing others and less judgmental of others. And I can assure you, being less judgmental is one of the most beautiful things you can do to yourself and to others, because when you accept others in the way that they are, your heart is filled up with more kindness and love, and you exude this love more and more in your daily life. And that's a beautiful way of living. So the 10th quote is, and it's the last one, but not the last that I love. Let's just, for now, let's just choose 10 quotes. If you think you can, or if you think you cannot, you're right. And that's by Henry Ford. And this quote, I think, I stumbled upon it, I think during pandemic maybe, or a little bit before that. And I thought to myself, oh wow, it's all about the people that believed in themselves, or that had one person who believed in them. It might not even been them, but their father, their mother, their sibling, their spouse, their partner, their muse, who believed in them. And with that belief, they were able to attain their fullest potential. And it's really true. If you think you cannot learn a language, if you think you cannot get fit, if you think you cannot live a more beautiful life than you're living right now, you will be right. Because you will be living every day with the attempt or with a desire to confirm that in every action that you take. You're going to blame it on your family, you're going to blame it on circumstances, you're going to blame it in the country you were born, or you're going to blame it in the family you were born. You'll always find reasons to look into thinking, okay, I need a confirmation as to why I'm not able to do what I want to do. But if you think you can, if you think, even if you were born in a family that wasn't given education, but you will get education, you will find ways, and the ways also will find you. What is seeking you is seeking, what you're seeking is also seeking you. If you think about that, you'll find in every single action that you take, person that you meet, you will find an aspiration, or you'll find a sign that you're going to get what you want. This affirmation bias, when we're looking consciously for, or subconsciously, for the proof of our own thoughts. So if you think the world is beautiful, you're going to look for that beauty every single day. If you think that the world is not just, you're going to find every single possible article, news, books, person you talk to as an affirmation as to why the world is not just. And it's really up to you, to your perception of the world, how you end up building your life. And it's very true that life, there's really not a true reality. The reality is based so much on your perception of it. And the life that you're going to be living is going to be based on your perception of life. If you think you can get better, live a better life, a more fulfilling life, have a beautiful family, travel the world, get all the things that you have always wanted to have, you're going to be able to do that because you have that strong belief that you can. So this was the 10 quotes that I live by, and at that moment they resonate so much with me in my life right now. Perhaps in this stage in life, I'm always looking for ways to have more courage, to believe that I can, to have the patience in the times that not everything is working out the way I wanted to. I am looking for quotes that really inspire me and make me think that I can and I will. And I hope that it also inspires you to feel the same way. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do let me know down in the comment section what are some more quotes or videos that you want me to show. What are from this quotes that you love the most. Do let me know actually. And maybe share with me some of your favorite quotes, and maybe I'll find in those quotes some that I want to collect as well. And I'll let you know as well in my responses if your quotes made to my collection book. And if you want to support more of my work, you can check out my website. You can get my books that are available for international shipment on my website. You can also sign up to my online pre-recorded etiquette courses, also available on my website. You can become my patron. I really would appreciate that if you join my etiquette movie club or my lifestyle club, where every month I share some of etiquette reviews for different movies, Hollywood movies. I've done over 40 different movie analysis, and by joining now you can actually have access to all those movies. And I have a lifestyle Patreon tier where I share just things that I've loved, or some tips and tricks and lifestyle things, so you can check that out as well. So thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.